as I'm looking out this window, I forever dream I can shine a light up on everything. They said the obstacles are easy, but it never seems like. Hello, hello, hello. Dreaming just a way to a beautiful light, yeah. Hello, hello, hello. Fly through the day, but a star by night, yeah. Hello, hello, hello. I take what I can take, and I start to fly, yeah. Hello, hello, hello.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in, watching the Recovery Clinic. I'm Jimmy McGill, and we got Chris Dickey. This is what we do. If you haven't already went and hit the like button and shared our page, please do so now. This is where we keep people in recovery connected to recovery through social media. We love you guys. We thank you so much for giving us a voice and a platform to share that experience, strength, and hope to people who may be in early recovery or may need the resources to find recovery. Chris, what's up, dude?
Hey, we were just talking about how grateful we are
Yeah.
for you and your continued efforts to get the message of hope out to people who need it.
Yeah.
People who are struggling, just all around the board.
Yeah.
And so thank you from the bottom of our hearts to help get this message out. We got a great show
Fire
today.
show.
We
show.
love when we get to showcase recovery stories, and that's what we have today. And we're very excited to speak to Daniel.
Yeah, I've known Daniel for a while, so I'm
Yeah.
excited about this. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of where his recovery takes place.
Yeah, we get to talk about that a little bit too.
We got another special something. Tell them about the other special something, Ricky. This one? Yeah. Okay. Well,
We've got Daniel on the show now. We clicked over. That's
clicked
right.
over, okay.
Welcome, Daniel.
Yeah. What's up, man?
We want to. Hey, at 11:30,
11:30.
something's happening.
Going
we're
down.
gonna talk to Daniel about his recovery story, and we're gonna see the power of why we don't give up on people, which is a great segue at 11:30 to talk about what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Last week,
Yeah.
you challenged us for this word, healing.
Yeah. You guys gave us a
Gave
word.
us a word.
Healing.
And Jimmy and I wrote some lyrics to it. And at 11:30, there's going to be a poll. We need to know who needs to go first. We don't know that yet.
Yeah.
I think maybe we'll play Rochambeau, paper, rock, scissors to see. We haven't decided that yet.
You know
but
what?
At 11:30, we'll get into it.
There's a couple of ways we could decide that. We could let Daniel pick. We could flip a coin.
Or
We could let the audience type in the name of who you want to go first. Or we
I
can
think
play rock, paper,
we can play
scissors.
rock, paper, scissors.
I don't
That's
want
2
to do
out of
that.
3.
I feel like he's going to be strategic. Ricky.
Yeah.
Ricky. I feel like he's going to strategically watch my hand and then,
All right. We'll do it like this. We need a coin by 11:30 to flip. So
Coin.
Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to say this every time that Ashley reminds me.
Light workers.
Fellow light workers out there continuing to spread hope and recovery. We're thankful for you. Jen, Sherry, Tim, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. And if you're new and you're watching the show, please click the top of the screen where it says Recovery Clinic. Go hit the like button and subscribe to the page. You never know when you're going to hear something on the show that could save the life of someone you're close to. And you're going to hear that in a little bit with Daniel, right? Like how I'm not going to steal his thunder. But you guys hear from me and Chris all the time about how people gave up on us. They wrote us off, and now look, we went on to change the world. I know for a fact we do a lot of good that helps a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you never know when you're going to hear something that you may need to share with somebody that's in addiction. And so that's why we try to build that page up. Right?
Absolutely. And it allows us to have guests like you, Daniel, and to share the complete hopeless state of mind and body, in the bankruptcy that we go through in active addiction, and then to see you today. I can't wait to talk about what you're doing today, what's going on in your life. So why don't we get started? Daniel, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, and...
Well, I grew up out in Southwest Little Rock, off Arch Street.
AS?
AS.
Okay.
Yeah, I ran with Arch Street, and
what does that mean?
what does that mean?
Man, they were clicked
You ran
up.
with
AS, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a real.
Yeah, that's a real
There's
thing.
a real click.
I, mean, I know
Group.
I know a dozen dudes that's got AS tattooed.
Are they on the radar of?
They'll beat you up, man.
Not anymore. I know
take
people
your drill.
like Daniel and Jimmy.
Facts.
Facts.
Big facts.
Facts. So I grew up out Arch Street, and I was introduced to drugs at probably the age of 9.
Oh, wow.
Started getting in trouble at a really young age, and it really had a lot to do with I was bored. I needed some type of excitement in my life, and then I found that excitement in committing crimes, stealing cars, breaking into houses, and I started doing that at a really early age.
You have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I do. I have a brother and a sister. I'm the middle one.
Yeah. You grew up in a.
It was I would say an average home for a couple of years. Early on, one of my first memories was of abuse in my home.
Yeah.
And so that's just the environment I grew up in for, I would say, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And then my dad, he got better, went to rehab and got better. And for several years, it was good. It was a good environment. But then there came a point where my dad slipped back into addiction. And when he did, I was already smoking weed, and I was thugged out. You know, I was listening to Tupac, I was gang banging, I was committing crimes. And so when he did that, I just followed right behind him. And then so I watched my dad sell drugs, I ran with him. And so that's just the environment that I grew up in. And at an early age like that, like 13, 12, 13, like that's very influential on a young man.
Your developmental process is going on.
And so I end up catching my first charge at 13. I was caught with a pistol and drugs.
Right.
At 13 in North Little Rock.
Golly,
Yeah.
me too, man.
Yeah, right off Broadway.
Were you guys you're not together?
You were there?
No, but I was on the other side waiting for them to cross them tracks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like, that was the whole era that
Yeah.
we grew up in, the banging in Little Rock era, right? So I'm feeling everything that Daniel's talking about. I know it's the truth.
Was this
'cause I
like the late
there.
90s?
Yes.
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
For
So-
me-
92, 93, 94, 95.
Well,
yeah.
That's when it was going
Mine
down.
was
a
like
little bit.
97. He was a little.
No, check this out. So I do have a connection to this. Over in Oregon, I had cousins that lived in
Yeah.
Batesville, Arkansas, and they said that Little Rock, Arkansas was going to be on Cops. They were showcasing on Cops. So I remember around that time, it was the mid-90s when they were here. So that's what they talked about, the gang banging and all of that was going on. So
Yeah, it was definitely gang fueled, drug fueled. But like I said, I ended up going to jail at the age of 13, and I just
Where you go, over on Roosevelt? to
yeah,
the Juvenile?
on juvenile, yeah.
Me too, man. I hated that place.
So over the next several years, like before I turned 18, I had already done 3 years incarcerated.
Yeah.
And before I ever turned 18. And so like that is the mentality that I learned is in there. And going in there, juvenile's rough.
yeah.
I swear,
right.
harder than any prison you're
Yes.
ever going to step in.
And so like every day was a fight. You had a lot of pride. You had to have pride and walk around like letting people know that, hey, don't mess with me. And so that's how I was.
And then they
But you
did
also-
it anyway.
Yeah, then anyways,
They
yeah.
do it anyway.
And so
But you also have guards sometimes abuse their power.
Listen, take the toughest prison movie you've ever seen. Times that by 5, boil them in a pot, and you still don't have the juvenile in Arkansas.
That's what I'm saying. No, some of those juvenile. I mean, you're not only trying to survive the peers. You're
yeah,
trying to survive the guards
yeah.
coming in.
So
and,
I got whooped by my house parent.
all right.
Yeah, I
Which
got
about
beat
training
up.
school?
Yeah, in Palm Bluff Training School.
yeah.
Yeah, I got beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, we had dorm parents, right?
Yeah.
And they were rough. They were as rough as the kids were.
Yeah.
I was in DYS and got into it with the guard as well.
Yeah.
So looking back on your life, have you ever just thought, man, I never had a chance, and somehow God picked you out of this and put you just into a totally different environment And we'll get to that point about what happened. But you did get some exposure to recovery and what it looked like. By the time you were 18, you said you've done 3 years, but you've seen your dad go to rehab, and you've seen some of those seeds that were planted through his actions of recovery, right?
Yeah, so like I said, my dad, when he went to recovery, he got really deep into AA because that's what his problem, he drank. And he became a sponsor and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, I seen that, but at such a young age.
Couldn't connect
really
what was going on.
Yeah, I really couldn't connect. I see that my parents got better, but by the time I got, 12, like that stuff was, in the distant, in the far past. But yeah, man, there were certain times, man, where I felt like, man, I just couldn't get a break. It's like every time I got out of jail, I was right back in. I was right back in. And then when I was in foster care, my dad was abusive towards me, and I found out, and I ended up in foster care. And finally, man, by the age of 17, I had got my GED and got emancipated, which means they made me a legal adult at 17. And I was like, here I go, man. I'm about to be different. I'm not going to commit no more crimes.
Yeah.
My whole life ahead of me.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know those kind of promises that you make in the mirror. You're looking at yourself like.
I was getting ready, man. I was ready for that 18th birthday. And then a week before my 18th birthday, I was at a party, and we were getting drunk and getting high. And, the next morning I woke up, I was hungover, and instead of going back home, I went to a friend's house to continue that party. And when I got there, we started getting high again and ended up getting on a four-wheeler and taking this four-wheeler down to a park and ended up wrecking the four-wheeler. I was thrown from the four-wheeler doing like 40 miles an hour and hit a set of steel handrails on a pedestrian bridge. And what happened was it tore the nerves that go to my right arm out of my spine. And so it completely paralyzed my right arm, in which I was right-handed. And at the time, I couldn't walk.
But you had I don't want to miss this. You had a big identity in sports and athleticism.
Yes.
And so you not only were you excited to turn 18, you had big plans for your future in using your athletic ability. And so when you lose that identity just like that, I mean, talk to us, take us through your split decision process in what you were thinking right up until the accident. Okay, so what happened was I was approaching this canal, but I couldn't see it because of the way the landscape was. And as I got closer to it, I seen it, and I was like, and I made a split decision. It was either a left or a right. And who knows what had happened if I would have turned right. But what had happened is I turned left. And when I did, there was a bridge, and I hit the bridge. It threw me across, and I hit, and I remember I fell back into the culvert, and the first thing I remember saying was, God, please no, not me. You hear about these guys or these people who have these devastating wrecks and they're paralyzed and stuff. Yeah. And I knew at that exact moment that I was that person, and I didn't want to be. You knew right away? Yeah, I knew something bad was seriously wrong with me. And so I was just, God, please no, not me, not me. I was saying this out loud. And, but it was me. That was me. And at that moment, my identity was ripped away. Because I set my identity in fighting and playing basketball and just being able to physically take care of myself. Yeah. And at that moment, it was ripped away, and I didn't know who I was. Yeah, not only were you in active addiction, you had this identity in sport. I did too. I share that with you. And to lose the identity, but also to the effect that you're laying in the hospital paralyzed with your right arm, I mean, without anything to turn to. Yeah. I mean, you didn't have really, you talked about not really a spiritual connection at the time. Yeah. And so what a lonely place, right? Right. You do have some humor about it, though, a little bit. Oh, yeah, yeah. You talked about, what did you say about Superman? Oh, yeah. I was like, it was the best impression ever of Superman for about a second. Yeah. Back then, if there was as much camera phones as, maybe someone would have caught that and definitely had some likes on that one.
So it would have went viral. I can tell you a secret about Daniel. It's a really fun fact, right? Despite the fact that his arm is paralyzed, he is one of the best handball players like he's known for being good on the handball court.
Were you right-handed or left-handed?
I was right-handed.
So he's not on the left-handed. He went from left, switched him up.
It's lefty. Yeah, and well, that's impressive, right? Because handball's a two.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really good at handball. Anybody that's done time is good at handball, right? But generally, it takes two arms, and so he's smoking everybody with one. You know.
You know, what can I say?
Well, I mean, you most likely went through somewhat of a little depression dealing with this before you became like who you really are. Is I'm going to overcome this, and I'm gonna
Well, when it happened, actually, I knew that depression was coming. I knew it was.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting ready to turn 18. I just lose my arm. My whole life is just completely changed from what I had in mind. Yeah. And so I was like, I can't let that happen. I can't let myself get depressed. And so what I did, I just made myself active. And I just go and get high and party and that's all I did. And just made sure I was out and going.
And the hospital stay didn't even stop him, y'all.
No.
He just brought the party to the hospital.
Yeah. I actually got kicked out of the hospital for having too many people there and arguing, and the police showed up.
I guess the staff and the police didn't want to accept the invitation.
I can see where you can convert a hotel room or a hospital room into a hotel room.
That's exactly what I had done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't.
See, this is where, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't want to miss this because you can speak to this like not a lot of people can. When you have a tragedy, sometimes more than one, in your case, you're talking to people that don't understand the disease of addiction because it didn't stop you. Everybody in their right mind, logical reason, whatever you want to say,
you
would
literally
stop.
just lost your arm.
Yeah.
You would say, okay, that's a wake-up call. I'm never doing anything like that again. I'm going to be, a teetotaler, whatever.
God, let me keep the rest of my body, so I'm done.
Yeah.
Not for
you.
a person in addiction.
Not people in active addiction.
No. So yeah, I at that time I didn't associate it with that.
Well, you didn't know.
Yeah, it was just a horrible.
You
thing
turned
that
left
happened.
instead of right.
Yeah. This is
It
horrible.
wasn't
And did a
because anything
Superman
else.
impression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't associate that with getting high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was arrested 14 times in 1 year, and guess what?
You didn't associate.
Never
that
once
with
was
your
it my alcohol.
Never did it occur to us that the drugs were the problem.
I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they were after me. They were
Always.
just picking on me.
Yeah. Right.
Always.
Anyway, so you get kicked out of hospital.
And so
You're a week. So you're 18 by now.
Yes. I actually got out of the hospital like a day before my birthday, and so I lost my job because I couldn't I did construction, so I couldn't do that no more, and I didn't know what to do, and so about a month or so after getting out of the hospital, I had a friend come by and was like, "Hey, I got this lick you want to hit," and there goes right there what I said I'd never do again.
Yeah.
Was get back into crime. And
Okay, so thank you for clarifying that. Lick you want to hit is crime.
Easy money.
Easy money.
Yeah, and so he had this idea of breaking into this house and stealing some stuff, and what turned into be just a bunch of guns. And so I was stuck with all these guns, so we start selling them. And long story short on that issue, the police ended up kicking my door in about 5 months later, and I caught my first charge to go to prison. I was sentenced to 11 years in prison on my first charge. And
That's a pretty good sentence for your first bid.
It was.
Was that on a Class B or?
It was a B and a C, I believe.
Okay, so you did 2 months on a year for each year.
Yes. And so ended up doing like 23 months out down there.
Yeah.
But this was totally different. This wasn't like regular like juvenile that I had done. This was completely different because I was walking into a prison to Varner in 2004 with one arm. Okay?
It's dangerous.
I can tell you right now, if I said I wasn't scared, I'd be lying.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be.
And so I walk into Varner, I get to the Sallyport, and from the Sallyport to 13 Barracks, I seen 10 people I knew.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, I was like, wow, there's a lot of people who I know. But
Yeah.
I get to the barracks, and
Did that scare you?
No.
That's
feel
kind of
good.
made you relieved, right?
Yeah. And so I get to the barracks, and then one of the shot callers is one of my old friends. And I was like, oh, and so it's cigarettes and weed, and you want some hooch, and it was like, this is prison?
Tell him what For those watching, what is hooch?
Hooch is it's alcohol. That
Jail wine.
Yeah, that you make
Bootleg.
make out of like fruit.
Imagine, you talk about people, sometimes they give people in active addiction a bad rap. They say we don't have any willingness.
Yeah.
We don't have any courage.
Yeah.
How many people do you think had to die before that recipe was right? You talk about willingness to go through it.
And craftiness, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know about you, but when I was down there, I saw a syringe get made out of an ink pen, a light bulb string, the string in the middle of the light bulb that lights up, that, and they used a pencil eraser for a plunger. It was, insane. Like, we are the most creative breed of people that I've ever met in my life.
I've seen them make speed.
No, you chain me up to a post out in the desert, I'm going to figure out a way to distill sand. I mean, we're going to figure it out. So, you do your time, it's comfortable.
Yeah,
which is kind of like, that's a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like, because
there's nothing to be afraid of
right,
at that point.
Right.
So
the progression of the illness is sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. And in the case of yours, is quickly. Mm-hmm. You're not going to live very long, right? Mm-hmm. At that point.
Yeah.
The things that we're engaged in is fast paced. I mean, we're just really taking really unnecessary risks and doing stuff. Mm-hmm. It's either that or we're going to get life and we're gonna die in prison. Right?
Yeah.
Did you ever think of that? Like,
no.
Did that ever cross your mind?
No, not at the time. The prison sentence for me was the catalyst that fueled the next 10, almost 20 years of my life. So in prison, I start selling cigarettes. That's where I start selling cigarettes in prison. And I started getting that hustle mentality.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it came the weed that I started selling. And so now I don't even have to buy cigarettes. I don't have to buy weed because I can just smoke a little bit out of my stash. You know what I mean? And so that's where I got that hustle mentality. And I'm not selling to Susie and Ray. You know, I'm selling to some of the worst people in the state of Arkansas: killers, murderers, rapists, robbers. Okay. And so I'm learning the ins and outs with them people. And so when I get out, I got one thing on my mind. I've heard all these stories about all these guys talking. I want to sell some dope.
Real dope.
That's what I want to do. I want to do all the fun stuff, and that's exactly what I did.
What a way to rehabilitate somebody,
right?
Taking them through from the juvenile to. I mean, it's turned him into a.
That's what prison does.
Yeah.
Like I learned some of the biggest scams that I ever ran were learned in the Department of Corrections.
Correct. Correct. That is correct.
Including manufacturing of methamphetamines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's recipes just floating around.
Yeah.
That's why that's what the peer movement has done, though. They've taken individuals like you two and lots of others that can go back into these institutions and change them.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's the problem. We criminalize addiction, and
War on drugs.
It's a health issue. It shouldn't be a crime issue, right? Like Daniel just sat here and told his entire story how he lost his arm and still went to prison because he couldn't just say no. Just say no does not work. That's like willpower. When it comes to addiction and recovery, willpower is the biggest myth that you can tell yourself, and that's just the truth of it.
Yeah.
You know, we can't recover alone. It takes people like you to inspire people like me, who can inspire people like Daniel, who can go back into the same prison system he came out of and be that light worker.
Tell me about that. Tell me about the time your lights went on.
Yeah,
Well,
let's hear about that M18, man.
Well, from where we were, I ended up spending about 10 years incarcerated, just in and out of prison. I got caught in Texas trafficking with a buddy of mine, and was put on 15 years. I got 15 years down there, and on parole. So here we are about 2 years ago. We're in Arkansas, and I'm on parole in Arkansas. I'm on parole out of Texas, and I come out of prison, and I was like, man, I'm gonna get my life together. I got an idea. I had gave my life to God while I was in prison. And
it wasn't one of those foxhole prayers, though.
No, it wasn't. what I'd done while I was in there.
It wasn't like Santa Claus, like, hey, here's my wish list.
No, it wasn't. So I got stipulated SATP, which is it was a substance abuse treatment program. It was in prison, and I had to take that before they would release me. And so while in that program, they have like a structure set up, of like peers that are kind of directing other peers. And I end up making my way to the top of that structure pretty quickly. And so for about 4 months, I was the coordinator over this program. And I learned right then, like, this is exactly what I want to do. This is exactly what I want to do. And so when I was released, I had learned how to live like a Christian in prison. But I was honest enough with myself to say, I don't know what that looks like in the free world.
Facts.
Because I had tried it before and just didn't work. Because of shame and guilt and stuff like that, man, it just always blinded me. And so when I came out this time, I said, I need some help.
Yeah.
And so I went to the Renewal Ranch in Conway, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go here. They're going to teach me more about Christ and teach me how to live like a Christian in the world. Well, when I got there for the interview, the guy was like, how long you been clean? And I was like, 2 years. And he's like,
Can't come.
he's like, you got more clean time than I do. he's like, we're looking for guys with needles hanging out of their arms. And I was like, I'm not sure if I want to go out that route to get in.
Yeah.
And but it was crazy, man, because at that meeting, I met 2 guys that happened just to pull up, and that was Blake Polston and Neil Gray. And
Just right then.
yes,
like,
they were actually
random.
They were actually coming to pick the guy up.
There's nothing random about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, there is no randos.
I think, Blake, you're watching, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looking
he
right at
is.
you,
Yeah,
Blake.
hey, Blake.
Blake, are you
Look at
there?
him smiling. Why are you smiling like that, Blake? God,
But
So they pull up in the driveway.
they were actually pulling up to
putting
get.
some dust behind those tires on
Yeah,
the gravel road.
They were pulling up to take the guy Damon. Damien Rowlett was the one that was interviewing me. They were taking him to a volleyball game, and Damien was like, "Dude, you don't need another program." He's like, "You need a community." And he's like,
Facts.
"This is a perfect guy to introduce you to." And so that day, I met Blake, and I just felt within my soul, man, that God had put this guy in my life. And so I told Blake, I said, "Man, I'm gonna follow you and do whatever you tell me to." I said, I need this spiritual leadership over the top of me.
Pause. Okay, so the reason why he is doing what he's doing today, and he's left all that old stuff away and he's healed, is because this is it. I'm telling you right now. He was ready to try something different.
Yeah.
When I have all my old stuff and I'm listening to you tell me how to live in the world of recovery, and I hear what you're saying and block it off because I'm going to do what I want to do and try to do it, not going to work. When you say, take me as I am, put me to work, I'll do whatever it takes,
Surrender.
is when really the miracle of recovery happens. So
Yeah.
I really love that because
Well, I want to piggyback off that. No matter what recovery literature that you dig into, right? No matter what it is, it all has one common theme. In that moment of complete surrender, recovery then becomes possible.
That's
In
right.
that split second.
That word surrender is definitely it.
That's it.
Yep.
When we surrender to the fact that we can't do it alone, I need help. It's bigger than I am. That's why the higher power concept is mandatory for recovery. I don't care what you claim your higher power is, whether it's God, Jesus, a doorknob named Frank, whatever. Like, here's the deal. It's got to be greater than addiction, because addiction was obviously a power greater than us that made us bow down. So we need a God strong enough to combat that.
That's right.
yeah. So the two miracles that really have happened in my life is one, the ability to surrender, right, and to be, and the second is to actually do something different. Because when you surrender, okay, I realize the situation and the fatal nature of my illness, right?
Yeah.
Then that doesn't mean I get sandals and a robe and I'm free.
Yeah.
Sandals in a row.
I have to work through Christ-like.
Oh, okay.
I have to work through a big process. It's painful,
Right.
but I'm not alone.
Right.
So the first miracle is I'm not alone, and the second is I get to be a part of this community that takes me through a really painful process.
Yeah.
Growing up,
Yeah.
right? Growing up's hard. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So, like I said, I met Blake, and I told Blake, just guide me, mentor me. And Blake said, all right. And so me and him started getting really close, becoming really good friends. At the time, he was the pastor of New Life Church in Mayflower. And he one day came to me, man, and he said, hey, he's like, I'm getting ready to open up a recovery center called M18. And he's like, I would love for you to come on as staff. And I was like,
Blown away.
this is it. In my soul, I knew exactly what I need to do.
You're selling hope. Went from wanting to sell dope to selling hope.
Yeah.
And so I said, all right, man, yeah. And he kind of told me the dynamics of it, and I was like, I'm in, dude, I'm in. Yeah. And he's like, all right, man, I'm going to take this to the board and see what they think. Well, I'd love to tell you that that's how I became staff, but it's not. The board came back and said, we don't want that. We want him to go through the program so he knows the ins and outs, you know, and then we can talk.
Smart, though.
And then we can talk about being staff. And so he came to me. He's like, "Man, this is what I got, man. It's a 4-month program. You know, what do you think about going through it? Being the first resident, you'll be, you know, the staff."
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so I right then I knew God told me, go through it. This is the wheel that I want you to walk. I didn't want to go back into it. Now all of a sudden I don't want to go into a program. And so I said, man, I don't want to do that. And I said, I think there may be another way. And so what I did is I stepped out of the will of God and I tried to do my own way.
Oh, you went to Daniel Anonymous.
Daniel Anonymous. And even though I stayed in connection with
I sponsor
Blake,
myself.
Yeah.
I stayed in connection with Blake. At that time, that's when Blake said, well, there's this thing called Peer Support Recovery Specialist. He's like, I want you to check it out. And so that's when I got a hold of Jimmy, and I went through the class.
Yeah.
But what was happening is I was setting all these expectations, and they were unrealistic.
Oh, sure, they always are.
And what happened?
It's not an unreasonable request that I want to feel good all the time,
Yeah.
every single day, 24/7.
Yeah, I would love to feel good like that.
That's
All
not
the time.
unreasonable, is it?
Yeah.
Not much.
So, I thought I was just going to go through the training and then get this job and then start helping people, but it didn't happen like that. I couldn't find a job. God was not blessing my actions because I had stepped out of the wheel. And so I ended up getting a regular construction job. And long story short is I was needing validation and I wasn't getting it. So where do you go when you need validation? Back to where you know you can get it. And so I started going back to my old neighborhood. When they see me, they were like, hey, what's up, man?
Where you been?
You look good, man. I was like,
Broseph.
yeah, I look good, you know? And so, man, that felt good. And so I kept going back and going back. And we both know,
Oh, yeah.
we all know what happens when you go to the barbershop long
Get your
enough.
hair cut.
You can get that thing clipped.
Yeah,
and
even
so,
if you don't want nothing but a line,
Yeah.
you're going to get
No,
a little
dude,
hair.
yeah.
And so I got back into my addiction. And my addiction is, it goes hand in hand with selling drugs because I'm not going to pay for drugs when I can just sell drugs and get it for free.
And you were probably, I can't speak for Daniel, but Chris and I, we were terrible hustlers. I was my biggest customer, and so I had all these dreams. When I get like Daniel's talking about, I would envision myself going to get in the bag, I'm going to flip it, I'm going to take care of everything financial, and it never worked.
No, I never
Never
did that.
worked.
You would rely on me to like talk the McDonald's people into giving us some free burgers because we hadn't eaten in like 5 days.
Yeah.
I could do that. There's no hustling in the dope game for me.
Yeah.
You know, I never did any of that.
Chris, the cheese burglar.
Yeah, that's it. No, I get the
Cheese
food,
hustler.
man. I get the food. I find the party. But
Yeah.
all right, so look, we all know that story.
Mm-hmm.
When I lead, I stumble. So then you actually are going into M18.
Yeah, so I ended up getting caught. I was getting arrested and went into jail, and I had a half ounce of dope on me, and they found it. That's pretty serious.
Yikes.
That's the drug charge plus introduction to drugs into a government facility.
Yeah, that's serious.
It's serious. And so I go in, and I remember I went in, and I was just defeated. Everybody's going to be so disappointed in me. And I laid my head down on the counter and was just done. And then all of a sudden, man, this came to me. I heard something Blake had said. Blake had said that he had rededicated his life 3 times. It took 3 times for him to rededicate his life. And I was like, this is,
It's got the chills.
yeah, this is, I can do that. You know what I mean?
But see,
I'm not defeated.
yeah. So I love this because we can't do anything to separate ourselves from God.
No.
The love that God has for us.
The Bible says not even the devil himself can separate us from the love of
So
God.
he's waiting. Come on, son.
Dude, and so
Come
like,
on.
when I thought that, I swear to you that I had this feeling, and I just rose up off the counter, and I said, I know exactly what I got to do. I've preached it. Now I got to live it. And so I was like, whenever I get out of prison, because I know for a fact I'm going to prison.
Facts.
Facts. And so I know I'm going to prison. So whenever I get out, I'm going to step back in the will of God, and I'm going to go through M18. Let me tell you something. 10 days later, they came, opened up my cell door, and they said, hey, Worthy, pack it up. What's going on? They said, you're leaving. I said, y'all moving me to another barracks? They're like, no, you're leaving. I was like, is another county here to get me? No, man, you're going home. I was like,
No, I mean, I get it. I've been
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
like-
Where are you taking me?
yeah, I was like, what? And so that day, 10 days later, I walked out, and I did exactly what I told God I was going to do. I called Blake, and I said, Blake, I got to confess something to you, man. I said, I've been using, I've relapsed, and I need help.
I'm sure he was really shocked.
And you know what? And I was thinking that he was going to give me a tongue lash and just chew me up and down. He said, hey, brother. He said, I love you. He said, door's wide open for you, man. You know exactly what to do.
It's good.
And so on the 28th of December, man, I walked into M18 and completely and utterly changed my life. They taught me the importance of the word, which we call the truth. They taught me the importance of community and also serving.
That's what you need, a
I
community
never
and service.
realized how important it was to serve other people.
Yeah, that's the way to live.
And that's
There's no better way to live than being of
service. Yeah.
I haven't found it.
And so the main thing that has changed me is I found purpose. And I found that through the help of M18 and through Jesus Christ. I pursue my purpose every single day in Jesus Christ, and that's what keeps me going. You know, I go out and like, I just want to let people know that your story is super important. In Revelation 12:11, it says that we will defeat the enemy with the power, with the blood of the Lamb and the power of our testimony.
Yeah.
There's not a comma or a slash in between there. Our testimony is just as powerful as the blood of the Lamb.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
it saves.
it's the
And-
proof of the
yeah.
blood.
Yes.
Like your story, my story, Chris's story. That's the proof in the pudding, right? Like, you can study all the data you want to study, okay? At the end of the day, it's people that have lived through those flames of addiction and didn't get their butt burned off to the fact that we were unredeemable, but came out of that fire the refined version of ourselves.
Exactly.
I mean, fine-tuned, right? And now we go back into those same flames, carrying buckets of water to those still on fire, still suffering, and still sick.
That's good.
That's what the testimony
That's
is.
good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, we recover out loud so people don't have to die quietly.
There you go.
Right? The more you share, the more Chris shares, the more I share, the more lives we save.
Jimmy's heating up.
Yeah,
He's heating up
I
for
love
what's
it,
coming
man.
next.
I love it, man.
Right?
love it.
But I want to say something.
Yeah, say it.
You're the second person. Ricky, you notice that Blake and Ashley Polson came up when Michaela was in here. So I don't know what Blake and them got going over there, but you're the second success story that's came to this studio and shared your, and them being a key role. We're going to have to get them on here, Chris.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe.
most definitely. They were definitely one of the biggest supporters. What I found out, man, is when you put, here's what we like to say, it's like a cross. You put a leader over you, a spiritual advisor, okay, which makes making decisions way easier. I don't have to do them by myself anymore. Hey, Blake, what do I
Takes
need
all
to
the
do
heavy
here?
lifting.
So
Yes.
wait, let me
Takes
ask
all
you,
the
let
heavy
me
thinking
stop.
out of it.
Let me pause you and ask something. So Chris and I, we work a 12-step program, and we have a sponsor, right?
Yeah.
So in a faith-based setting where you're not really working a 12-step program, the spiritual advisor would kind of be like your sponsor.
Exactly.
Okay, I get that. That makes sense to me. I understand
And
that.
here's the thing is that I have put a whole team of spiritual advisors over me.
Yeah.
I have Blake Polston. I have Tony Phillips with City Serve.
I call that my mastermind group.
Yes, I have Bronson Duke at Downtown New Life.
Yeah.
I got Fitz Hill. You know, these guys are like a power team, man. And I can ask them anything, and they're going to help
People
me.
in the
It probably
master
takes a team to keep you in line.
people in the mastermind group should say your name in a room full of opportunities, right? Those people want you to succeed. They want you to go as far as you can.
That's good.
In your full potential. So
That's good.
we
My
appreciate
man.
you coming on here and talking about it.
Fire. Now.
That's great stuff.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to check out M18, it's at m18.com. We got a new project coming up, guys.
What does the M18 stand
Well,
for?
M18 comes from the parable in the Bible of the lost sheep, Matthew 18:12.
He left the 99
It
for
says,
the one.
if-
Golly, Ricky, I got chills there, Rick.
It
You
says,
didn't know that?
It says,
He's going to school today.
if a shepherd has 100 sheep and one goes missing, will he not leave the 99 to go get the one?
Boy,
And
I'm
so,
the one.
you know, I was the one, and now it's my obligation to go back out and look for lost sheep. You know?
Yeah.
And so it's awesome. But
And you know, I mean, part of that is like no matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. You can go into places where some people can't, which
Yeah.
makes you a unique
I haven't gotten
qualifier to be in a position where God can really go through you to somebody.
yeah.
And that's when we're talking about purpose, it's personal.
Yeah.
See, I never thought that God wanted to be a part of my life in a personal way. I never had a problem believing in the existence.
Yeah.
It was, God only cares about Jimmy. Like, you know, I can see what God's doing in Jimmy's life, but
Right.
you know, I'm just stuck over here, you know.
And so that's one thing that we've been talking about here recently is it's not a feeling that you're looking for. Like if I'm not feeling it, what I can do is I can look at the proof.
Yeah.
I can look at Jimmy and say, hey man, look how far he's came. You know what I mean? Like that's also possible for me.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's what I tell people, like you might not have lost an arm, you might not have done 10 years in prison, but the struggles that you have are significant for you. Okay, so that makes them just as bad as mine were. You know what I mean? And so your struggles, when you share your struggles, they'll have just as much power as mine does.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so
It's good.
All right. Thank you
good.
so much for coming on and sharing. That's wonderful.
Man, what time is it, Ricky?
It's that time. So, will you just flick it off screen?
Okay.
And Jimmy, go ahead and you call it, Jimmy.
All right. Flip it. Tails. Tails it is.
Hey guys, I gotta say right now, I'm scared. I'm gonna be vulnerable. I don't like that sometimes. Like this is you.
No, it used to be me when
Well,
I
I
was
mean, being a wordsmith,
J-Bo.
liking the words play and all that stuff.
So, but hold on, let's get real. A lot of my stuff that's still up, it's okay, you know. But a lot of it, I go back and listen to it, and I'm like,
Makes it
that
feel
is
fun.
garbage. Why would anybody want to listen?
No, I
to
mean,
that?
but I mean, you put it into the light, you know.
you
Now
also,
it's-
it was a long time ago too.
Yeah, it
So-
was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you're rusty?
I was never in a sober mindset. You know what I mean?
Jen
So,
Schuler says I should be scared of Jimmy.
Yeah, that's my.
Yeah, she's right.
Hey, Jen gonna ride. Did you
She-
put the poll up, Ricky? They gonna be able to vote.
All right, y'all ready? Here I go. My childhood was never overjoyed, a void that couldn't be filled with opioids. Unemployed, paranoid, drugs by the fistful. I was raised with pit bulls and pistols, running from pain, trapped in pollution, and delusion became my solution. Using became my solution. Hard, but it's fair. I was dealt a raw deal. Life's walking on me like a spiked heel. Get it? A spiked heel? Wait, there's a spike, but no heel. Ooh, suddenly my head spins like a Ferris wheel. Bow down, addiction had me kneeling. Spiritual healing, that's what I'm searching for. A decision made, I'll use no more. There's no cure, not for addiction, but I'm healing now. My disease is in remission. Wait a minute, I done got to spitting and writing like a Viking who sighted a village for pillaging. I know they feeling it, boy, I'm killing it. Hey, that's it, that's all I got.
Jimmy,
Was
that's
that all
incredible. Why did I not go first? Why?
Was that good?
It was good.
Is that all right, Dan?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
It was
messed
really
up
good.
too. I lost the bar. I was like,
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, nobody counting. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
All
it'll
right,
be okay.
you got who's this? Tanisha, don't be get him. This isn't a diss battle. We're just talking from different perspectives.
Tanisha, you know, that's teamwork with Tanisha. She's
All right, here I go. Yo.
All right.
His palms are sweaty. Knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Damaged goods, throwaway folks. Lost causes, their life is a joke. That's how they feel. That's what they say. Never gonna heal. It'll always be this way. Don't ever underestimate God's power. Took this at it, grew a flower. Restored like a 67 Chevy. Took my will, life's no longer heavy. Reconciled our past, the future's bright. The hope is vast, we've joined the light. Helping others heal is a way of life. Rebuilding the broken, how we survive. Strength in numbers, healing together. Sharing our love, we're birds of a feather. Ending stigma one day at a time. Our voice is loud, we ain't no mime. Our job is to continue clearing the path so those across the world can escape addiction's wrath.
That's good.
That's good.
That's good.
That was emotional.
Yeah.
That's good.
Daniel? Daniel was okay. All right, come on, Daniel. We'll let him in there.
All right, guys, I got 16 for you. All right, here we go. I'm out of my head, but I've been here before. I focus on past won't allow me to grow. Deny myself, bring glory to God through Jesus Christ. Define these odds, open my eyes to see your face. Whatever it takes to feel your grace. Bring heaven to earth, let's change this place. Start a revolution with the Christian race. Daniel the dreamer, and God is my judge. Focus on principles grounded in love. Talk about struggles, I've been there before. Lived in the dark, was afraid of the glow. Had a good shepherd to show me the way. Back to the pack when I start to stray. Worried about nothing, the Lord got my back. M18 Blake, keep me on track. Ha.
Oh! Hold on, man.
Hey, he just stole it.
Hold on,
no,
man.
you can't say
Come
nothing.
on, Ricky. Put the camera over here. The AA building is beside a liquor store. And the drug rehab got a lab in the floor. Gunshots on a bloodstained couch. Somebody wigged out and turned his own lights out. It's sad and it's drastic. We out here robbing and blasting. The truth is a monster, I'm knowing it hurts. You want love, go to church. Bow down praying for my people, but meth will buy you sex, love, and desert eagles. Everywhere I stare, I see these dead faces. Glass plates, mirrors with residue traces. Now call it contagious, it's a real epidemic. You don't understand that the real devil sent it. You in love with the product in the plastic. The next bump might have you in the casket, stretched out like elastic, dead before the high even lasted. And now your son's got to grow up as a bastard. Welcome to Arkansas.
Say,
No,
no,
he can't keep coming back.
No. I'm interrupting it.
I got
Look
16
forward
more.
to the poll. I have no idea, but I want to say thank you so much again for coming in.
Yeah.
We've got a beautiful shirt for you.
Awesome.
Arkansas Department of Human Services. We want to thank the State Drug Director's Office. If you know somebody that is struggling, that can use help, please visit artakeback.org for prevention, treatment, and recovery resources. Jimmy?
Yeah.
Daniel? Anything you want to say?
Like you said, guys, if any of y'all are battling with addiction, or you know someone who's battled with addiction, you can always reach out to me, Daniel Worthey, on Facebook. If we don't have a bed open at M18, we can always get you in somewhere else. Also, like I said, if you want to look us up, we're on M18.com. So that's pretty much.
Yeah. Thank you for coming in and being vulnerable with us, man.
Oh, no
That's
problem,
a beautiful
man.
thing.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
always. And always you can follow your host. Chris and I have separate Facebook pages where we share our recovery and try to inspire people. My URL is Jimmy McGill Live. Chris is Recover Out Loud with Chris Dickey. And so social media can play a key role in recovery supports. Hope you guys had a fun show. Share the video. Maybe your friends will go back and watch it. What else we got, Chris?
We love you guys, and we got a great show planned for next week. Tune in Wednesday at
11 a.m. We
Every
love
time.
you guys, and we will see you next week.
Thank you so much.